On the show, is it constitutional subversion? Vice President and Rajya Sabha Chairman Jagdeep Dhankhar attaches 8 of his personal staff to various standing and parliamentary committees. Modi Albanese at border Gavaskar. Cricket and diplomacy take centre stage as PM Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese attend the first day of the 4th India-Australia Test match in Ahmedabad, commemorating 75 years of friendship. More support for Sisodia. Now Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin joins the opposition bandwagon, calling for the minister's release. BRS party accuses the Bharatiya Janata Party of carrying out political vendetta. This as the Enforcement Directorate shifts aim to Telangana Chief Minister KCR's daughter K Kavitha. And get to know why a US intelligence report says India is militarily ready under Prime Minister Modi's leadership. This and more. Top Angle starts right here, right now. Well, now in a move that has irked the opposition, Vice President Jagdeep Dhankhar, who is also the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, has attached 8 of his personal staff to various standing and parliamentary committees with immediate effect. Well, now these officers will assist the committees in their work, including confidential meetings. The reason cited is that this will supplement the staff and officer support to the respective committees and help in research inputs. Also, these officers will get an exposure to different facets of the Rajya Sabha. Now, the opposition, while strongly criticizing the move, questioned the logic and the necessity behind it. They claim there's been no consultation in this regard whatsoever. And here's some of the objections raised on the move. The Congress party says all Rajya Sabha committees already have competent staff drawn from the Secretariat. The CPI, meanwhile, has called the Act violation of established parliamentary procedures. The RJD too has criticized the move, saying it goes against the very idea and structure of standing committees. Well, now the definition of parliamentary committee says it can comprise only the MPs and the officers of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha Secretariat for assistance, chosen for their expertise and knowledge. Most bills are referred to these committees for detailed examination once they are introduced in the House. Moving on. It's a cricket morning to remember. A rare amalgamation of cricket and diplomacy as Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Australian counterpart Anthony Albanese attended the first day of the 4th India-Australia Test match in Ahmedabad. Narendra Modi Stadium, which is also the largest stadium in the world, attracted festive vibes, with the crowds cheering and chanting Modi's name. Both Prime Ministers took a lap of honor around the ground to celebrate 75 years of friendship between the two nations. Well, there was a special and loud cheer from the crowd when both Prime Ministers shook hands with their respective captains, Rohit Sharma and Stephen Smith. Well, now the two Prime Ministers then proceeded to meet all the players of their respective teams before moving into the hospitality box to watch the match. Well, now both India and Australia are known to be arch rivals when it comes to Test cricket. And as many records are made and broken, both on and off the field, this gesture from India to bring diplomacy close to cricket will surely go a long way in cementing ties beyond cricket between the two nations. Next up, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister MK Stalin. He has joined the chorus of opposition leaders calling for the release of Aam Aadmi Party's Sisodia. Stalin's appeal came a day after Kerala Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan expressed similar displeasure to the Prime Minister about Sisodia's arrest. Only last week, several leaders in the opposition, including West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee and Telangana Chief Minister K Chandrasekhar Rao, had written to the Prime Minister alleging quote-unquote misuse of central agencies by the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party. This week, following Kerala Chief Minister's appeal, it was the DMK Supremo who has said Sisodia's arrest was on trumped-up allegations. Now, in a letter addressed to the Prime Minister, the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister writes, and I quote, "I am saddened and disappointed to note that Thiru Manish Sisodia, the elected Deputy Chief Minister of Delhi, has been arrested on trumped-up allegations and made to undergo all pain and pressure, depriving the constitutional guarantee of personal liberty. I hope that you will agree that different ideologies and several political parties are the heartbeat of Indian democracy. Terrorizing the due process of law will be remembered as the black day in the BJP regime at the center. Now, besides calling for the release of Manish Sisodia, Stalin doubled down and threw up several allegations against central agencies like the Enforcement Directorate. He alleged that all canons of criminal justice had been set aside and due process itself had been abused for quote-unquote personal satisfaction of the ruling party. Moving on. As the Enforcement Directorate heat turns on over Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao's daughter, K. Kavitha, the BRS party has launched a blistering attack on the BJP, alleging it of harassment, political vendetta and intimidation. After the ED summon, BRS MLC K Kavitha conducted a press conference this afternoon and alleged that central agencies are being misused for political gains and the poll-bound states are on the target. She further claimed that several BRS leaders in Telangana have been blackmailed and are currently in the firing lines of the central agencies.
See, today we put up a protest for Mahila Bill. They'll call me to ED. So every paper is writing only about Kavitha attending ED, but not Kavitha doing dharna for a women bill. So tomorrow they'll increase the price of the cylinder, but then they'll call some other leader to ED. So cylinder hike price will not be there, issue will not be there. Some other leader going to the ED will be there. Some Adani issue comes, they'll call some other neta to ED. So the diversion tactics of Bharatiya Janata Party is what needs to be exposed today by all the political parties, and that is what today TRS is trying to do.
Meanwhile, K. Kavitha's brother and BRS party working president K.T. Ramarao also targeted the Modi government earlier in the day. He said that the central agencies are being used to hunt down the opposition leaders and that the ED summons are actually a Modi summon.
To eradicate democracy. ప్రతిపక్షాలు లేకుండా చేయాలి ఈ దేశంలో ED is not enforcement directorate anymore. ED is a mechanism to eradicate democracy in this country.
Now, with the Aam Aadmi Party already facing CBI heat and Sisodia taken into custody, KCR-led BRS party is doubling down on the BJP, especially after ED summoning K. Kavitha in Delhi excise policy case. Kavitha was first summoned by the ED on the 9th of March, but the latter requested the Enforcement Directorate to come to her house and probe the matter on the 11th of March. And take a look at this. India is more likely to respond with military force to Pakistan's provocation under Prime Minister Modi's leadership. This was among several findings in the annual report of US federal alphabet agencies like the CIA and the FBI. The assessment also warns of possible military escalation between India and China after the 2020 Galwan clash. Compiled by the United States intelligence community, Pakistan's long history of backing terror activities in India is laid bare in its annual report. Noting Pakistan's record of supporting terror groups for anti-India activities, the report raises fears of a potential military conflict. A conflict that could spill over due to what it calls a quote-unquote escalatory cycle between the two nuclear-armed states. Well, now these findings are significant, especially from the United States' deep state, which we know has historically bet big on Pakistan, both in terms of energy, trade, and investment to military logistics as well. But notably, the report also goes at length about a potential military escalation between India and China. Quoted in the report is Avril Haines, the United States Director of National Intelligence nominated by President Joe Biden himself. The top US intelligence official notes how the buildup of Indian and Chinese forces along the line of actual control has elevated the risk of armed confrontation. Quoting from the report, the US Director of National Intelligence notes that persistent low-level friction on the LAC has the potential to escalate swiftly. Armed confrontation between nuclear powers India and China might involve direct threats to the US and calls for US intervention. And on Pakistan, the report says, higher probability of India responding with military force under Prime Minister Modi to perceived or real Pakistani provocations. Now, while it's welcome that the US is taking a keen interest in India's neighborhood, what's quite unwelcome is how the report, despite noting Pakistan's involvement in anti-India activities, continues to give it the benefit of doubt. Phrasing such as, quote, perceived or real Pakistani provocations is particularly problematic. Nonetheless, these findings are sure to influence how Washington frames policy in the times to come. And on that note, it's the end of this edition of Top Angle. Do check out incisive news analysis and cutting-edge documentaries streaming only on News 9. Thanks for watching.